Morning, everybody. Got it? Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back. It's very exciting. We're here in our final session, but it's actually not the final session when you think it's really the beginning of mindfulness and your long-time practice. My name is Faye Hubaki, for those that are new to join us. I'm a psychologist and ethicist at the University of Chicago, and I work with cancer patients, caregivers, and certainly oncology staff, both, and including education and research. So great to be here with all of you, and longtime family member of Gilda's. I love saying that ever since I was a resident. Gilda's holds a very special place in my heart, so as all of you. So we'll begin today that we're just going to check in. We'll probably check in at the end. We identified that might be the best on your third week of mindfulness. And today's goal will really to focus on take care of self and having kindness for self. And we really want to extend new learning when it comes to mindfulness. Again, just because this is the end of this session, we're always going to be learning. We're always going to be a student of mindfulness in a good way, that there's always new insight into the practice and that. And hopefully you'll continue with other sessions and that. So let's begin with the mindful breathing exercise if we can. So simply sit comfortably with your eyes closed and your spine reasonably straight, and hopefully eyes closed if that would be all right. We know that helps to induce a relaxed state. And direct your attention to your breathing. When those thoughts, sounds, emotions, physical feelings occur, simply accept them, allowing them the space to come and go without judgment or getting involved with them. When you notice your attention has drifted off,
didn't even see that type of chicken.
When you notice your attention has drifted off and is becoming caught up in thoughts or feelings, simply note that the attention has drifted and gently bring the attention back to your breathing. It's okay and natural for thoughts to arise and for your attention to wander by following them. No matter how many times this happens, just keep bringing your attention back to your breathing. And as you continue that by simply bringing the attention to your breathing, we're going to switch our attention as well by centering on our body. Keep your eyes closed and notice how your body is seated. And whenever you're seated, feeling the weight of your body on the chair and on the floor, take a few deep breaths. And as you take a deep breath, bring in more oxygen, enlivening the body. And as you exhale, have a sense of relaxing more deeply. You can even notice the feet on the floor. Notice the sensations of your feet touching the floor, the weight, pressure, vibration, and heat. You can notice the legs against the chair, the pressure, the pulsing, the heaviness, and lightness. Notice your back against the chair. Continue as you breathe. Bring your attention to your stomach area. If your stomach is tense or tight, let it soften. Take a breath. And notice your hands. Are your hands tense or tight? See if you can allow them to soften. Notice your arms. Feel any sensation in your arms. Let your shoulders be soft and loose. Notice your neck and your jaw. Allow them to be soft. Simply relax. Soften your jaw. let your face and facial muscles be soft. Then notice your whole body present. Take one more breath. Be aware of your whole body as best as you can. Take another deep breath, and when you're ready, you can open up your eyes and join our virtual environment. So our 4-week mindfulness cognitive journey, that is really kind of centering on our cognitions, our thoughts associated with feelings, involved these 4 sessions, just as a reminder: an introduction to awareness, autopilot, stress and body, the scattered mind, being able to stay present, allowing, letting be, recognizing that our thoughts are not facts. And session 4 is really taking care of self and extending new learning. Recognize that mindfulness is a simple concept, the practice of being aware of your experience in that present moment. And a gentle reminder is that what you do affects how you feel. And that's most important, that you can change how you feel by changing what you do. So today we'll center much on taking care of self, and we emphasize that the importance of noticing as that first step is dealing with the challenges, that there's a duty to take care of self. And when things begin to get bad, we often fall into old patterns, such as ignoring the situation, really pretending it's not happening and hoping it will go away. So by learning to pay attention to the signs of oncoming stress, anxiety, or depression, we can really take proactive steps to take care of ourselves before we get too overwhelmed. It's difficult to dig your way out of a deep hole, but if you notice you are just starting to slide down into one, it can be easier to climb back up. It's even better to notice the holes before you fall into them. And this session is about noticing the factors that lead to becoming overwhelmed, our unique relapse signatures. So by creating and being prepared to take preventative action, knowing our thoughts and feelings will follow later, our own personal plan ahead of time, we are all the more better for it. Let's start with another sitting meditation. If you recall the past couple of sessions, we introduced you to a sitting meditation. And this one is by Jack Kornfield. So once again, close your eyes gently. Begin by bringing a full present attention to whatever feels within you and around you. And let your mind be spacious, your heart kind and soft, all about self-kindness and compassion. As you sit, simply feel the sensations of your body. Then notice what sounds and feelings and thoughts and expectations are present. Allow them all to come and go, to rise and fall like the waves of the ocean. Be aware of the waves and rest seated in the midst of them. Allow yourself to become more and more still. Feel your breathing, your life breath. Allow your attention to feel the in and out of your breath, wherever you notice it, as coolness or tingling in the nose or the throat, as rising and falling of your chest or abdomen. Relax and softly rest your attention on each breath, feeling the movement in a steady, easy state. Let the breath breathe itself in any rhythm, long or soft or deep. Settle into its movement. Let all the other sounds and sensations, thoughts and feelings continue to come and go like waves. Your attention may be carried away by one of the waves of thoughts or memories, by body sensations or sounds. Whenever you notice this has been carried away for a while, acknowledge the wave that has been done so by softly giving it a name, such as planning, remembering, itching, restless. Then allow it to pass and gently return to the breath. Some waves will take a long time to pass. Others will be short. Certain thoughts or feelings will be painful. Others will be pleasurable. Whatever they are, Allow them to be. At some sittings, you will be able to return to your breath easily. At other times in your meditation, you will mostly be aware of bodily sensations or of plans or thoughts. Either way is fine. No matter what you experience, be aware of it. Let it come and go and rest in the ease in the midst of it all. Open your eyes and look around you before you get up. Then as you move, try to follow that same spirit of awareness to go with you into the activities of your day and return to this virtual environment that we are in together. So just some mental thoughts again, so that we do not break from the recording, but think to yourself, what did you notice? What did you experience? And sometimes it's very hard not to think about solutions that may have arose. It's important to notice that tendency that sometimes we're always trying to figure out solutions. But when we get stuck, it's just constantly thinking about also how to sit with it, to let go of that computer in our brain, constantly trying to figure out what often ends up in a subtle way of just avoiding the feeling it brings up in our bodies. In this way, you're even more overwhelmed than you were. The goal is really to begin noticing that, and necessarily not always making it easy, but it does become ultimately easy over time. Similar solutions, similar to physical pain, you may feel like you're tightening up against a difficulty. You can learn to notice that. You can begin to let go of the tension and the resistance around it. So rather, instead of fighting with it, if I let it to be sit there, if there is a solution, it can sometimes come by itself. And recognizing, after all, that you can't force yourself to think harder. Muscle tension does help to sometimes, but recognizing that it's important, especially with this inner work, to know that it doesn't always feel like it's getting easier when you sit with something difficult. It's just that you're becoming more and more aware. That's important. It's not necessarily easier that when you sit with something that's becoming more difficult. It's not always easy, but to just be, but recognize you're becoming more aware, and certainly the more aware of those layers and the subtleties that you weren't aware of before. So another exercise, again, we can do it sort of mentally. If you have a pen and paper, this can sometimes help as well, but take just a few moments to bring to mind what you do during a typical week. And here's a grid for you to be able to complete the activity next time at home. But in the spaces below, just jot or mentally think of 10 activities that you routinely do during your life at home or at work. An example can be already entered down for you. So see if you can break down big chunks of activities such as housework, or smaller parts such as talking to colleagues and emails and preparing meals, or just doing. So for example, activity 1 would be take a shower. And what is activity 2? What is activity 3? What is activity 4? What's activity 5? Maybe it's simply taking a coffee, or again, reading those emails, or speaking to your employer, or in a cancer setting, certainly coming to the hospital and speaking to your physician and to the nursing staff, right? So those are some activities that you can jot down. Maybe it's attending a Gilda's course. Now ask yourself those questions after you've jotted your activities, even just one activity. Does this activity lift my mood? Does it give me energy? Does it nourish me? Does it give me a sense of being alive? If the answer is yes, simply put the letter N next to it. And then, does the activity dampen my mood? Does it really drain me of energy? Is it depleting you of a sense of being alive? If that answer is yes, put D for depleting or draining next to it. And it is most likely the Zindale and the authors identify that you will end up with some of these activities with N's next to it, some with D's next to them, and some with neither. They really can't categorize it. So although it's very simple, this exercise reminds us of something that's important. What you do affects how you feel. Remember that. You can change the way you feel by changing what you do. And activities that can help are those that give us mastery and pleasure. What does that mean? So when people feel down and exhausted and lacking energy, it puts out that two types of activities that are particularly effective ways to lift mood. One is the pleasure activities. These are things that give a sense of enjoyment or pleasure, like calling a friend for a chat, taking a long, hot, leisurely bath, or going for a walk. And number two are mastery activities. These are those that give us a sense of accomplishment, satisfaction, or control. Activities like writing a letter, mowing the lawn, doing something that you've just been putting off. Maybe if you're a longtime survivor, you haven't gone, maybe missed your appointment as a result of the pandemic and you're really trying to resume back. But, just recognizing it's something that you put off, but that we need to do. Intention and kindness is key. That's what's critical. Activity must be deliberate and intentional. Kindness heals. Unkindness or aversion hinders. Kindness heals. Unkindness or that aversion hinders. And again, another exercise is that now that you have that activity of listening to your favorite music with very different outcomes are produced with different intentions. The negative aversive attention, I'm using the music with the aim of getting rid of the sadness and those sinking moods, just fueled more towards aversion and unpleasant feelings. But that positive, kindly intention is that Jim is using the music as a way to take care of self, of how sad I feel and low, enabling healing to occur. Okay, that's two different ways of looking at it, that kindness heals, unkindness and aversion hinders. So how you use mastery and pleasure activities, the spirit or the intention behind them, is far more important than what you actually do. As best as you can, see if it's possible to engage in mastery or pleasure activities as an act of kindness to yourself. When you feel low in spirits, drained with all your energy going or gone, remind yourself, how can I best take care of myself right here and now? How can I best take care of myself right here and now? And there's always two ways of weaving these mastery and pleasure activities into your everyday life. One way is to build the activity into your daily or weekly schedule. For example, a very simple, proven way is to take care of your mental and physical well-being by daily exercise. Recognizing the fact we're all in a different state during the cancer journey that we're on, but as a minimum, maybe aiming for a short, for some of us, it might be a brisk walk, maybe 10 minutes to walk a day. If that's too difficult, simply 5 minutes of walking a day, maybe around your home, up and down your driveway, for example, up and down your kitchen, walk parallel to your kitchen counter, just for 5 minutes. You might even do it mindfully, you never know. But also, if you engage in other types of exercise like mindful stretching, yoga, jogging, once the exercise is your regular routine, it's there to turn to as a response to depressed moods as they arise. Strategy 2 is to link mastery and pleasure activities to responsive 3-minute breathing activity spaces. Remember, our breathing space provides us a way to remind us to use this activity to deal with the unpleasantries. Notice the moment of potential silence in the noise of the day, right? Mindfulness really helps that practice of the busyness, taking that moment, walking down the hall, right? To our activities, to our patient activities, for example, in the hospital. It's turning towards rather than turning away from experience. It's seeing that the thoughts are just thoughts. We value the thoughts, and our thoughts sometimes bring us those frustrations. But if you just see the thoughts are thoughts, that in itself is healing. And remember the way we had those past exercises of engaging creatively to any situation we're at, to find the space where you can take your time within your hectic, demanding schedule. And that responsive 3-minute exercise offers a way for you to bring kindness and peace in your own life. It's a major focus of our practice this week. So remember to notice the moment of potential silence in the noise of the day. So during what is week 7, we are in week 4, but certainly this is our week 7 and 8, is to practice the ways for 6 out of the next 7 days. Sustain your mindful practice, which you've been doing to try to do. If you've gotten away from it, most important is to resume it back again with the breath and the body scan. And then to incorporate our 3-minute breathing space, our regular breathing space, and that responsive breathing space that we did last week. And that breathing space is that door of mindful action. Remember, our breathing space is a door of mindful action. What is sustainable mindless practice, you ask? Remember, from the various forms of formal mindless activities that we have explored, the body scan, the sitting meditation, the lengths, the types, the mindful stretching or the breathing and the walking, and our 3-minute breathing space, it's possible to settle in on a pattern of practice that's realistically that we can sustain over the course of these 8 weeks, these 4 weeks that we've been together, but in a traditional 8-week session. And it's important for us to practice it for the next 8 weeks. It's fine to have different daily practices. For example, for weekends, the vital thing is that you acknowledge your constraints that you encounter during your life, while honoring the practice as a really important source of daily practice for you. It's critical, it's necessary. It's like brushing the teeth. As no need to force yourself to heroic efforts to make it sustainable. Remember, it's better to plan too little. You'll do far more later than to plan too much, where you may give up altogether if there's too much pressure. Simply saying, I'll try to do it 1 time a day for 1 week. I'll try to do it 3 times for the next week. That will help you incorporate even more and more. And each day, jot down what you intend to do, you actually did, and what you've learned about your level of practice for that day. You'll find meaning and growth from that activity. So my practices for the week. At the end of the week, there'll be an opportunity to finalize the pattern of practice you intend to follow over the long term. An example is day 1 is your intended practice, what you hope to do, aspire to. And then number 2 is your actual practice, what you actually did, what constraints were involved, that you were only able to do so much, or down the line that you were able to do so much more than you expected. And then jotting down what you learned. I learned this. I learned that my self-care is more important than anything. And then continue it for day 2. What was your intended practice? What was your actual practice? And what did you learn? I learned this. So let's go into our 3-minute breathing space. So once again, begin by bringing your attention into your body. You can choose to close your eyes. Again, that's what's comfortable for you, but we know that can deepen our relaxed state. Take a few deep breaths. And as you take a deep breath, bring in more oxygen, enlivening the body. And as you exhale, have a sense of relaxing more deeply. Notice your feet on the floor. Notice the sensations of your feet touching the floor. The weight, pressure, vibration, heat. Notice your legs against the chair, the pressure, pulsing, heaviness, lightness. Notice your back against the chair. Bring the attention to your stomach area. Is your stomach tense or tight? Let it soften. Take a breath. Notice your hands. Are your hands tense or tight? See if you can allow them to soften. Notice your arms, feeling any sensation in your arms. Let your shoulders be soft. Notice your neck and your throat. Allow them to be soft. Relax. Soften your jaw. Allow your face and facial muscles to be soft. And notice your whole body present. Take one more breath. Be aware of your whole body as best as you can. Simply take a breath. And then when you are ready, you can open your eyes and return to our virtual environment. And that breathing space is the door of mindful action. So as you come to the end of a responsive breathing space after reconnecting with an expanded awareness in that third step, it may feel appropriate to take some considered action. So ask yourself right now, what do I need for myself right now? How can I best take care of myself right now? What do I need to do for myself right now? How can I best take care of myself right now? In that mindful action breathing space, in responding to our depressed or distressful feelings, consider the following activities. Do something pleasurable. Choose an activity from your list of pleasurable activities. Use any other pleasurable activities that's at hand or seems appropriate. Might be just taking a walk. It might be just looking at a flower. Whatever you do that gives you pleasure. And then 2, do something that gives you a sense of mastery and satisfaction, achievement, or control. So choose an activity from your list of mastery activities or other mastery activities that is at hand or seems appropriate. Remember to take a break into smaller steps or chunks and tackle only one step at a time, or B, to take a moment to appreciate your efforts whenever you complete a task or part of a task. And then 3, act mindfully. As best as you can, focus your attention on just what you are doing. Let your mind rest in this very moment. Paying attention particularly to the sensations of the body, you may find it helpful to softly describe your actions to yourself. Now I am going down the stairs. Now I can feel the banister beneath my hand. Now I am walking to the kitchen. Now I am turning on the light. Every action is mindful. Be aware of your breathing as you do it. Be aware of the contact of your feet with the floor as you walk. Remember, our 3-minute breathing space, in minute 1, we're noticing what's there, our bodily sensations, our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts. In minute 2, we focus on the breath. We pay attention to one spot, the rise and the fall of the nostrils or the abdomen, for example. In minute 3, we're expanding our awareness. We expand from breath to body as a whole. Our mind wanders. Just simply bring it back again and again. And whenever you completed a task or part of a task, it can really help to break an activity down into smaller, more manageable steps. And remember, it's so important to tell yourself that, well done. Compliment yourself. You deserve it. You could take a break and break up any of the activities by doing something for only a few minutes, giving yourself permission to stop, or by looking at that activity, only one aspect of a larger activity, for example, such as clearing only one part of the desk rather than the whole part of the desk, washing one dish versus washing all the dishes. And after each step, pause to appreciate what you've done. Your action plan is that you may find it helpful to write this in the form of a kindly letter to yourself, as if you're writing it to a dear friend in difficulty. In that spirit, Zindale and colleagues have really suggested a beginning for you. I know you're probably not very keen on this idea, but I think it's very important for you to, et cetera, et cetera. You may find this structure more helpful. Always begin with a breathing space. You've known this, you have this in the book, it's written down. Step 2, choose a practice you found helpful in the past to gather yourself as best as you can. Was it mindful movement? Was it a body scan? Was it sitting? Use the meditation audio that you were sent. Remind yourself of what you've learned in the course. Take frequent breathing spaces leading you into a thought review. Read something that helps to reconnect you, with your wiser mind, with yourself, bringing kindness and compassion and awareness. Step 3, take some action that will give you a sense of pleasure or mastery. What is it from your list of pleasurable or mastery activities? Even it seems very futile to do, like a waste of your time. Break down these activities into far smaller parts, doing a part of a task or doing it only for a short time, easily managed period of time. And what you need at times of difficulty is no different than what you've already practiced many times throughout this course. When our feelings seem overwhelming, most likely there will come days when your feelings are overwhelmed, so you rapidly it feels impossible to do anything about it. And at these times, it's very vital and important to remember, even then, there are things you can do to make a difference. The most important thing is to reconnect with some sense of control, however slight that may be. And you can improve your mood in this moment by 1%. You have an enormously important shift, the quality of this moment, which affects the next moment, which affects the next, and so on and so forth. One small change can have a large impact in the end. And we'll also end this session by a poem, Thinking of a Summer Day by Mary Oliver. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? The grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I don't know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me what it is for you to plan with your one wild, precious life. What gives you that meaning and purpose? That's what Mary Oliver is trying to tell us. And what is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? How will you respond to this vital question posed by Mary Oliver in her poem? How might this mindfulness-based cognitive behavioral program, cognitive therapy program, tell us to realize your heart's deepest wish for greater happiness and wholeness and satisfaction and well-being? People vary widely in what they find most valuable in MBCT. Here are some of the things previous participants have told us. I'm now able to relate with my 18-year-old daughter more constructively. It has removed the shame I feel about having been depressed and anxious to the past, leading to greater self-acceptance. It has removed the shame I have felt about being depressed and anxious in the past, leading to greater self-acceptance. Remember, this is not only the end, this is only the beginning. You have become students of mindfulness, but it's important to reflect on your own experience with the program. What have you experienced? What have you learned? What do you value most? And it's actually putting into words what you have discovered that can remind and inspire, re-inspire as you consider how to take forward into the rest of your life the fruits of your patience and persistence over these last weeks. Might it be that this week 4 of the full course marks not only much of the end of the program as the beginning of a much wider continuing journey of mindful discovery. And when we teach this MBCT in a class, at this point, we come to full circle to do a body scan, that first extended practice of the program from week 1. If you're not in a class, you might do that right now, re-entering the mode of simply being before continuing to reflect further on your experience of the program as a whole. Feel free to do this without the guiding voice of the CD or the audios that, of course, have accompanied this session at any time. And John Kabat-Zinn, remember his comment of the full week 8, but for our week 4 is that real week, final week is the rest of our lives. That real final week is the rest of our lives. So remember, the aims of MBCT is to help you recognize earlier and respond more skillfully to that habitual pattern of mind and create that creates that emotional distress that entangles you in persistent emotional suffering. And it's to cultivate a new way of being, a way of being that means that these habitual patterns of mind are less likely to be triggered, and a way of being that allows you to live life with greater well-being, ease, and satisfaction, in a way of being that is far more ready for the mind's inner wisdom to guide you through kindness, through emotional turmoil. And we look forward. So at this point, there are 2 vital questions to consider. Number 1, why might I wish to continue with some form of mindful practice? What form might that practice take? And let's consider the why. But by reflecting on the benefits you have gained from practicing mindfulness, you sow seeds of good intention that will support your practice in the future. And by giving yourself a positive reason sustaining mindful practice, it's linked to something about what you can be proud of which can be enormously empowering, of what you can master, and that is enormously empowering. So identifying a heartfelt intention to sustain mindful practice. Remember, the session is all about kindness, and we have to involve our heart and our heart's intention to sustain this mindful practice. So once again, settle down in a comfortable, relaxed, sitting position, taking a few mindful breaths as you gather your mind, as it feels comfortable, and allow your eyes to close. Take a few mindful breaths to gather your mind as it feels comfortable, and allow your eyes to close. Allow the following question to drop gently into your mind and heart, and to be held there softly in awareness. What is most important to me in my life? What do I most value that practice might help me with? And allow the question to drop into your mind as a smooth, round pebble might fall down a deep well, or slowly deeper and deeper through the cool, clear waters of a lake. As the pebble falls, continue to hold the question in awareness. An answer may arise in your mind, or it may not. As the pebble reaches to the bottom, allow it to rest there for a while, open to any further responses that enter your awareness. As that pebble reaches the bottom, allow it to rest there for a while, open to any further responses that enter awareness. And there's no need to think about the question or try to puzzle out the answer or to look for a quick response. Instead, see if it's possible to let your awareness respond in its own way, in its own time, allowing the depths of your being to process the question at a level beyond the usual mind. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes and return to our virtual environment. So every time we are truly mindful, we are nourishing that precious intention to care for ourselves as well as other people. But we have to nourish ourselves first before we can take care of others. And that's a tough act for many of us. So recognize each time we are truly being mindful, we are nourishing that precious intention to care for ourselves and other people. So daily formal mindfulness practices, remember, do some type of practice, no matter how brief, every day. Intentionally respected meditation teacher Joseph Goldstein recommends that his students sit down to meditate every day, only even for 10 seconds. Every day, even for only 10 seconds. If at all possible, do the practice at the same time, in the same place, each day. View the practice like caring for a plant. Give it a little water each day for it to grow. See the practice as a way to nourish yourself rather than another thing on your to-do list. And explore ways to inspire and re-inspire yourself to the practice. Explore ways to practice with other people. Remember, you can always begin again. MBCT is letting go of the past and starting afresh with each new moment, than criticizing yourself or ruminating about the why. Just begin again right there and then by taking that 3-minute breathing space that you have practiced. Mindful tips, remember, from Diane Sieg, becoming more mindful is how we proceed through our day. That's the antidote to the feeling like we're running in circles. From our very first session on automatic pilot. Remember, it's easy to be on autopilot in your life, procrastinating or not, getting enough sleep or exercise. But mindfulness is about being more present and more aware of behavior in each moment. It can help you change the habits that are no longer serving you. 7 tips to bring more mindfulness in your life, to remember to meditate, even just Joe Goldstein's example of 10 seconds. But even just taking 5 minutes to sit quietly and following your thoughts and breathing can help you feel more conscious and connected for the rest of the day. Focus on one thing at a time. Studies have found that we're more likely to do a lot more errors, at least 50% more likely when we multitask. So remember to take breaks in the day to replenish and re-nourish, to recharge and renew whenever possible. Slow down, savor that process whenever, whether it's writing, it's maybe enjoying a cup of tea, maybe it's cleaning out the closet. Deliberate and thoughtful actions promotes healthy focus and can help you from feeling overwhelmed. Eat mindfully whenever you eat with your meal without the TV, without the computer in front of you, when you can really truly taste and enjoy each bite, savoring each bite, which is not only for your whole body, but for your whole soul as well. Really make it a ritual. Set a dinner plate at the kitchen table or your dining room table. Put a flower there, maybe a candle, really, and eating mindfully, slowly but surely. You deserve it. And keep your phone and computer time in check. Certainly, we know we are just too dependent on these things, but at our fingertips, we can become on information overload with these tools, and screen time particularly. Making sure you only look at it for designated times, whether it's for work. Well, certainly we know maybe it's our 8 to 4 job, but really limiting it for social networking as much as you can, and do your best to keep your mobile devices out of the reach at bedtime. Sometimes we use it for our alarms. Try to, if you're having sleep problems, really trying to keep that phone out of the bedroom. Remember, bedrooms are for sleep, sick, and sex, of course. That's how we were always taught in school, but it's really for your rest. You can't rest and get deep sleep with things that stimulate you, like the phone or a computer. And move, whether it's walking, it's practicing yoga, just stretching. Move our body. That is the fuel for our body. I know that's very difficult when we're, no matter what part of the cancer trajectory, whether we're in active treatment or if we are in long-term survivors. Remember, the one thing you can combat cancer-related fatigue is exercise. So, maybe joining one of the Gilda's great virtual classes to learn how to do certain stretching exercises that isn't too taxing. Or if you're at a cancer center where they have physical therapy, asking your doctor if physical therapy might not be right for you, so you can learn safe exercises and that. But we know moving, it just helps to bring life and nourishment to the body. And spending time in nature. Take walks through the park, trails by the beach, whenever you can outside. Remember, our soul is replenished and renourished when we're in nature. Do it for your body, your mind, your spirit. It keeps you in the present. Remember, we had sent, these are the mindfulness audio recordings by my old mentor, Richard Sears, the body scan, the mindfulness of breath, body, sounds, and thoughts, the 3-minute breathing space, a loving kindness meditation, and embodying love visualization. If you do not wish to explore anything else, these are the top 5 that we recommend. Certainly, his website is right there, Psych Insights, if you wish to take more virtual classes for mindfulness. Lots of meditation apps such as Headspace, Stop, Think, and Breathe, Insight Timer, UCLA Mindful, Virtual Hope Box, Fitting Mind. Certainly all of these are great meditation apps and health journeys. And they're empirically validated. I mean, it's gone through a lot of research. So these are meditation apps that we really trust and have been recommended by many cancer centers. Recommended reading, remember it's The Full Catastrophic Breathing by John Kabat-Zinn, The Mindful Way Through Our Depression, The Mindful Workbook, Cancer.net. This is a patient-centered resource by the American Society of Clinical Oncology. It's an honor to be the editor for psychosocial oncology there. So it's all about your well-being, psychosocial well-being, your quality of life. And there are 2 blogs when it comes to mindfulness, and lots on mindfulness there, including how mindfulness can help people with cancer and how specific examples of how mindfulness help certain patients and survivors with coping with cancer. And certainly mindful.org, again, a very wonderful, reputable site you can go to for mindfulness. So Thich Nhat Hanh, who is really the guru of mindfulness, he sadly passed away, Buddhist priest, had quoted, "Breathing in, I can feel my body. Breathing out, I can feel that calm. Dwelling in this place, I know is a wonderful moment." Cancer-specific resources, certainly wonderful. Gil is the top, of course, but depending on what cancer diagnosis you have, American Cancer Society, the National Ovarian Cancer Society. If you're looking for peer support, there's Immerman's Angels. Johnny Immerman's a wonderful individual. I've known him for years, really thoughtful about matching peers together on a one-on-one basis. And our own American Psychosocial Oncology Society, and that there is that 1-800 helpline if you are looking for individual therapists that work only with cancer patients. They can help identify, they've been doing a lot virtually, but help identify here in Chicago in the environment if you're not connected to one. Certainly Gilda's can be of help there too, but lots of great cancer-specific resources here that wanted to notify you of. Cancer Care as well, virtual online resources, lots there, coping with cancer, finding social support, and certainly the National Association for Mental Illness, NAMI, 833-NAMI, SHY is the Chicago phone line. And if you are ever feeling emotional distress, 988 is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. 24/7, they are available. So in conclusion, many thanks to all of you. Mindfulness really offers a way home. I wish you well as you continue your own unique journey of discovery, day by day, moment by moment. Thank you.